Hi pet lovers, thank you for joining Gina's Grooming Channel. Today we're going to be talking about thinning shears. We are going to do an overview of things that are called sometimes thinners, blenders, and we're going to talk about what they are and how they are commonly used in professional pet grooming environments. Okay, so what are thinners? What are thinning shears? You're going to hear a few things out there in the field. You'll hear them called blenders. You'll hear them called thinners. You'll hear them called thinning shears. You'll also see things called chunkers. So what we're going to be covering today is what you would find if you did a search on Google for thinning shears for dog grooming, which is going to be the type of shear that we're going to be discussing today. So what are thinning shears? As you can see, is that a thinning shear has one full blade, right? And then you have a tooth blade, right? So you have this cutting edge that is going to be spaced out according to these teeth spacing. And what this allows us to do is do a few techniques for blending and for thinning out a coat that I will go over today just on an overview, and knowing that as we take this journey together, I'm going to go into each one of those techniques in more detail as it comes up. So guys, thank you so much for subscribing. If you're already on this journey with us together, if you'd like to be, please click that subscribe button. Make sure to click that bell icon to be notified when we have another video released. So as we discussed, there are a lot of common applications for thinning shears, for thinners, and what I'm going to do is break it up into two sections, which is using your thinning shear with the lay of the coat, and then using your thinning shear across the lay of the coat. So what do we mean by cutting with the lay or across the lay? For many dogs, they have a lay of the coat. So let's take a look at Sealoft's ears here. His coat on his ears is going down. So when I'm going to be talking about cutting with the lay of the coat, okay, this is when I'm using my blenders, my thinning shears, to go with the direction of the coat. When I'm talking about cutting across the lay of the coat, so if the coat is dropping down this way, going ahead at a 90-degree angle and cutting across the coat is a different technique to use with thinning shears that we're going to go over today. So let's go ahead, zoom in, and show you some of the common techniques to use thinning shears. Okay, so for the demonstration that I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be using my 48 tooth thinners, my thinning shears, my blenders. So what I'm going to show you is, as their name implies, to blend. If I have a section that needs blending, let's say behind the head, that needs to blend into the body, what I can do is with the lay of the coat, start blending this in. And you can see that I'm bouncing my hand a little bit. You never want to bounce when you're using regular shears, but with thinning shears, we go ahead and use that bounce to give a nice blend. Another application of a thinning shear is to fix clipper marks. So if I went through and gave a haircut but went the wrong direction on the coat, that would leave a clipper mark, right? So a clipper track. And if I position my thinning shears with the lay of the coat, I can go ahead and blend that in. So make sure you know that this is also used to fix mistakes and to correct any clipper lines. Another application for thinning shears is to thin out the coat. Now we have had a video where we show you how to thin out the coat from the inside, but what we can do is just use our thinning shears to blend down certain areas. And then for drop coats, what we do is we can go inside the coat, make some cuts, and then comb out that section and thin out from the inside. Now, another use that groomers really commonly use their thinning shears for is right in front of the eyes, so the front eye corners. And I want to just show you guys an overview of how to do this. Is groomers will lay the thinners flat and then just gently open and close the thinners and cut that coat in front of a dog's eyes. And also to mention around the eyes, very commonly, if we want to leave a natural visor, instead of using our scissors or shears, we can use our thinning shears to give a much more natural line. So I'm bouncing here, but just to give a nice natural appearance, rather than just scissoring right across. And I also want to mention that we do use our thinning shears to loosen any matting commonly, or to cut out mats, because then you won't have this severe cut of a mat. Just be careful if you are using anything sharp around any flaps of skin, any loose skin, especially behind the ear. You want to make sure to clipper that out. But know that if I do run into some mats, sometimes I'll go through, break the mat up with my thinning shear, and then comb or brush out. So those were some of the common applications of thinning shears for using it with the grain of the coat. I do want to talk about a few things that we use it for against and across the lay of the coat, and it makes a really nice effect. So let's go into some of those. Now, it's really used to edge certain parts of the dog when you're doing a haircut. So you'll see a lot of times in skirted breeds, I will go ahead and cut with my scissors, and then with my thinning shears, I will use that to be able to go ahead and create a much more natural line. And I'm going to show you a few applications of that on seal off over here, going across the lay. So I also use these thinning shears to edge ears. I'm going to show you because I'm going across the lay, but I'm staying in one place. This gives a nice blunt cut, but with a little more texture than if I just used a regular straight or curved shear. Okay, I'm going to show you how this also works on his tail, just so you can see a drop. So if I'm trimming around his tail, I know, bud. I'm going to show you here. So if I want to take off, let's say, the bottom edge, and I want it to look really natural, what I can do is use my thinning shears to cut across the lay, okay? But to give it a nice natural look. Yeah, bud. And last but not least, and I know I'm not covering all of the applications of thinning shears, but I use thinning shears to edge around a lot of my terrier feet because I want that to look natural. So do know that in certain applications, I will use my thinning shears across the lay of certain feet to give a really nice look. And in a lot of my puppy cuts, I'll use thinning shears to thin down the top of the coat. Well, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this thinning shear overview, knowing that we're going to get into each of these techniques that we discussed and more in more detail as we progress along. And do know that most grooming students, it takes a while to master the techniques of the thinning shear and to really understand how to use it in professional grooming applications. So don't give up. Keep trying. Make sure to tune in. We'll cover as many bases as we can about this. But guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for subscribing. Click that thumbs up if you like this video, and we'll see you soon.